Everybody knows how sincere and down-to-earth Keanu Reeves is, right?
Because if you don't fight for your love, what kind of love do you have? No, I'm kidding.
But little did you know, some of his most wholesome acts were actually behind the scenes. For our second story, this is a little bit uncomfortable to talk about, but it does shine some light on the Hollywood elite and how Terry Crews kept a very dark secret from everybody. But now he's a spokesman for men everywhere. And for our third story, in the wake of a national tragedy, one of my favorite actors put his fame aside and returned to work as a first responder. All that and a little bit more, aka introducing some future giveaways today on the Good News Rundown.
Hey, Con, how you doing?
Tell me what it is.
Do I look good from where you standing?
I know I do.
I know there's a couple of things in life I need a bandage.
Welcome back to the Good News, y'all. Show where we look at good news from around the world, checking out different countries, communities, industries, and in today's episode, celebrities.
Hollywood. Gee.
Politics aside. And with that, my name is Logan, and let's dive right in. For starters, in the spirit of celebrities, who's your favorite celebrity? And better yet, what's something that they've done that's made you like them even more?
You make me happy.
Let us know in the comments. I'm curious who's on your Mount Rushmore. Alright, let's go. We already know and love Keanu Reeves. You know, The Matrix, John Wick, pretty much the internet's most wholesome celebrity.
No, because if you're a lover, you gotta be a fighter.
But who we see in the movies and on the talk shows doesn't quite do him justice. Listen to this. Just to show how sincere he really is, multiple times throughout his career, he actually cut his own paycheck to make sure that the films were finished on time so that they didn't have to sacrifice the well-being and livelihood of the editors and the crew.
Oh, that's so sweet.
For example, in 1997, for The Devil's Advocate, he had the idea to lower his salary so that the producers could afford someone like Al Pacino, which paid off. And on The Replacements, he did the same thing for Gene Hackman. And of course, it's a gimme, everybody's seen him give up his seat on the subway. But the biggest gesture, he actually set up an anonymous cancer foundation and actually donated 70% of his Matrix salary to leukemia research.
I never knew.
And the craziest part is that this has been going on for years and he's never once attached his name to it. The only times he mentioned it is when he said he doesn't want the foundation to have any distractions and he just wants them to do what they do. And before this, Keanu Reeves was already one of my favorite celebrities just because of how he's handled his fame. He kind of just seems like a man of the people. Unlike other Hollywood stars who only use philanthropy as like brand deals, he never wanted any credit for it. And what's weird to think about is that in my own life, I do have similar power. Of course, I don't have millions of dollars, but I definitely have the ability to do good without needing the attention that can come with it. Keanu Reeves kind of just proves that kindness isn't about hashtags, spotlights, or brand deals. It's just about being sincere.
You have earned my respect, Bradwood Boimler.
And that right there is some good news. Moving on to our second story today, I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't like Terry Crews. And just as a fun fact, I think it's crazy that he played in the NFL, but I don't think anybody doubts that.
And that's the truth, with some cheese on it.
But there's something he's been a part of off the screen that might be the most encouraging thing he's ever done. And I will warn you, it's a little uncomfortable to talk about. During the Hollywood Me Too movement back in 2017, where Hollywood's abusive background was coming to light, I completely missed Terry Crews sharing his own essay that took place with a Hollywood executive, which is absolutely shocking. Not only because of who he is, but also because of the cultural taboo around men, especially men of his stature, admitting more about the wicked reality of the business. But by speaking out, Terry Crews not only did hold the mogul to the flame, but he also expanded the conversation to include the reality for men. And he ultimately helped influence the SAS Bill of Rights. And I know this isn't our typical good news kind of story, but sometimes good things can come from dark places. And we don't want to hide from the fact that the world isn't a perfect place. Honestly, that's why we created this channel to begin with. And I never thought in a million years that Terry Crews, of all people, would have experienced something like this. But his willingness to embrace the burden and the shame that could come with this, to share it, and to use it to help other men who have experienced this within Hollywood and outside of Hollywood, it's not pretty, but it is good to know that we're moving in the right direction as far as that goes.
It's progress, not perfection.
And that right there is some good news. Real quick, if you're enjoying the good news so far, hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos.
And if I do, then what?
We're going to give away a $50 gift card to your store of choice. All you have to do is be a subscriber and comment your favorite celebrity or celebrities down below. And yes, if you answer the first question, that does count as an entry, so you don't got to worry about it.
Is that it?
And for our third story today, I never knew this about this actor, but it's definitely something I respect him for deeply now. I always liked Steve Buscemi in his comedy roles, and honestly, I do think he's got some pretty good range that gets slept on.
Forget it, Donnie, you're out of your element.
But in 2001, he stepped away from years of fame to help first responders. And I didn't know this, but Steve Buscemi actually served with Engine Company 55 in Manhattan from 1980 to 1984 before he left to pursue acting. And in 2001, when the towers fell, he actually stepped out of the spotlight to return to his old firehouse. And for a couple days following the tragedy, he worked alongside his old crew, and he never took a single interview, any photos, and only years later did other firefighters ever confirm that he was at ground zero. And you gotta respect that. I mean, Steve Buscemi never got too big for his roots. He remembered what it was like to be a first responder, and when he saw his home was in need, he didn't hesitate. And again, I know it's off color for the channel, but it's a part of America's history that shaped a lot of how we live today. And the fact that he didn't do it Hollywood for anything other than to fulfill his duty is incredible. It's definitely the kind of humility and loyalty I would not expect to see out of Hollywood.
I salute you.
And that right there is some good news. Moving on to a little bit more, you might have actually already heard of this before, but I'm gonna tell you again, because chivalry is not dead.
You did this for me?
Male Gentoo penguins search weeks for the smoothest pebble as a way to propose to their lady. And if accepted, they actually use the pebble as a building block for their nest. What a gentleman.
Brennan told me he was going to hurl his body off a helicopter into shark-infested waters, so I had a legal obligation to be here.
And that wraps up another episode of The Good News. And if you guys see value in this sort of content and you believe in it, that's big, don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe button. Hopefully we can keep this thing growing, because down the line we do got some really big things in mind, but at the present moment it does not make sense to even think about.
Alright then, keep your secrets.
And if you guys got any good news going on in your life, no matter how big or how small, let us know. We'd love to give you a shout out in the next community highlight. And if any story stuck out to you in today's video, don't forget to comment your favorite celebrity, and we'll do the drawing for that gift card this weekend.
Thank you, Angela, for reminding me.
So be sure to get plenty of doom scrolling in Friday to Wednesday, because next Thursday, if we're on time, on schedule, and on demand, we're gonna be right here talking about some good news. And we hope to see you there. And as Patrick O'Houlihan says, bye-bye.
Hey,
What's
Karma,
up,
how you
Tell me
doing?
what it is.
Do I look good from where you standing?
I know I do.
I know there's a couple of things in life I need a bandage.
I'll shoot.
Hey,
What's
Karma,
up, baby?
how you doing?
Tell me.
Do I look good from where you
I feel
standing?
like innocent pep.
I know there's a couple of things in life. I know there's a